Coming up on this Wednesday edition of Daybreak, police say they have found the body of the fugitive tycoon wanted over April's Sewol-ho ferry sinking that left more than 300 people dead or missing. President Park Geun-hye urges her new cabinet to undertake all financial and fiscal measures to create jobs and boost domestic demand. Plus, more than 600 Palestinians have now died during the ongoing violence in Gaza as diplomatic pressure for a ceasefire intensifies. Daybreak begins now. Hello, and thanks for joining us. To our viewers around the world, it's 6 a.m. on July 23rd, Wednesday here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom, and you're tuned in to Daybreak. Our top story this morning, police confirmed on Tuesday that a body found in southern Korea is that of Yoo Byung-eun, the billionaire owner of the Sewol-ho ferry that sank so tragically back in April. The 73-year-old's badly decomposed body was discovered well over a month ago in a plum orchard surrounded by bottles of alcohol. Choi You-sun reports.
The practical owner of the Sewol-ho ferry that sank in April, killing more than 300 passengers, has been found dead.
On the evening of July 21st, the National Police Agency informed us that the DNA from a body found in Suncheon matched to that of Yoo Byung-eun's.
Authorities also confirmed that a fingerprint taken from the body found in a field in Korea's southwestern city of Suncheon on June 12th also matched to that of the 73-year-old. Shortly after the sinking of the Sewol-ho ferry on April 16th, a massive manhunt was launched for Yoo and his family members on possible charges of embezzlement and criminal negligence. Yoo is the former head of Sewol Group, which is the predecessor of the Sewol-ho ferry operator. Authorities, meanwhile, still don't know when or how Yoo died, but they found bottles of alcohol, a health product made by a company linked to his religious group, and parts of his book near his badly decomposed body. Although it took nearly 40 days to confirm Yoo's identity, the prosecution and police now face public criticism for wasting more than a month searching for a dead man. Unaware of Yoo's whereabouts, prosecutors renewed a 6-month arrest warrant for Yoo earlier this week. With news of the ferry owner's death, attention now shifts to the prosecution's investigation into finding the Yoo family at fault for the ferry accident and providing compensation for the victims. Authorities are still hunting for Yoo Byung-eun's eldest son, Taehan, who has a $98,000 bounty on him. Choi You-sun, Arirang News.
Now, Korea's National Forensic Service is now looking into whether there were any toxins in Yoo Byung-eun's body as they attempt to work out the exact cause of death. Police say there are no signs of foul play, as we heard in that report, despite not knowing what killed him yet. Although the body was found in mid-June, some 6 weeks ago, experts say it does take quite a bit longer to test for DNA on a body that is so badly decomposed.
In the case with Yoo Byung-eun, his body was badly decomposed, so officials had to get DNA from his bones, and getting results from that is more difficult. His body was badly damaged because it was outdoors. It not only decomposed, but it was probably affected by flies and other insects.
Experts also say warm weather and high levels of humidity in the Suncheon area where the body was found played a role in the fast decomposition and decay of the body. Now, the hunt for the billionaire ferry owner spanned well over 2 months, and although authorities had some promising leads at certain points along the investigation, Yoo Byung-eun always managed to stay one step ahead of the authorities until his death, at least. Our Connie Kim reports.
5 days after the Sewol-ho ferry sinks in waters southwest of Korea, the prosecution launches a special investigation into the Yoo family, which owns Cheongjin Marine Company, the operator of the ferry. After 73-year-old Yoo Byung-eun fails to appear in court for questioning on May 16th, the prosecution requests an arrest warrant on charges of embezzlement, tax evasion, and raising illegal offshore funds. On May 21st, authorities enter a religious compound where Yoo Byung-eun is believed to be hiding. However, police exit the 230,000 square meter compound empty-handed. One day later, the police put up a 50 million won reward, or about $50,000, for information that leads to the capture of Yoo. The bounty is later raised to nearly $500,000. On May 25th, police raid Yoo's villa, where officials find traces of the ferry owner having stayed there. Police seem to be moving closer to tracking down the ferry owner in the following days. They find a car presumed to belong to Yoo Byung-eun in Jeollabuk-do province. Early the next month, the business tycoon reportedly asked for asylum in France and the Philippines, but the prosecution says the requests were rejected. On Monday of this week, the prosecution once again issues an arrest warrant for the fugitive owner of the sunken Sewol-ho. He's evaded arrest for nearly 2 months at this point. Then one day later on Tuesday, it's confirmed that a body found in a plum field in Korea's southwestern city of Suncheon last month is Yoo Byung-eun. More than 1 million police officers were involved in the manhunt for the billionaire owner of the Sewol-ho ferry, but in the end, they come up empty-handed. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Now, to another accident that adds to the unease and lack of confidence in Korea's travel and tourism industry. 2 passenger trains collided early Tuesday evening on Korea's east coast, killing 1 passenger and injuring more than 90 others. Korail, the nation's railroad operator, says a tourist train collided with a passenger train between Taebaek Station and Mungok Station in Taebaek, Gangwon-do province, about 270 kilometers east of Seoul. 4 of those hurt in the accident are being treated for serious injuries. Most other injured were able to go home after a short stay in hospital. Reports say the tourist train failed to heed a stop signal before crashing into the waiting locomotive. You can see the crash scene there. Investigators are still determining who is at fault. And now turning to the latest on the downing of Malaysia Airlines MH17. The bodies of the victims have begun a long journey back to the Netherlands, where they boarded the ill-fated airliner some 5 days ago. A train carrying the bodies from the crash site in rebel-held eastern Ukraine arrived in the Ukrainian government-controlled city of Kharkiv on Tuesday. Upon their arrival in the Dutch city of Eindhoven on Wednesday, the bodies will be identified and repatriated. The Netherlands will mark Wednesday as a day of national mourning. Meanwhile, European Union foreign ministers agreed in Brussels Tuesday on expanding sanctions against Russia unless Moscow swiftly acts to resolve issues with rebels believed to have shot down the passenger jet. The president of Japan's public broadcaster NHK has once again made some controversial comments about wartime sex slavery. In an interview with Japan's Kyodo news agency on Tuesday, Katsuto Momii reiterated that every country at war had their own system of sex slavery. He said this is his personal view and it's not something that can be easily changed. In January, Momii said the practice, while considered wrong under today's values, was common in every country during war. Those comments were widely criticized inside and outside of Japan due to concerns it might affect NHK's production direction. Regarding such comments, the broadcasting chief said his views would not be reflected in NHK's output.
We start before the sun rises to bring you the latest stories out of Korea. We also lead the way with important global coverage. Stay on the pulse of what is happening with Daybreak.
Now, in domestic politics, President Park Geun-hye wants her new economic team to mobilize and revitalize the sluggish local economy. Meeting with her new cabinet, including Finance Minister Choi You-sun, for the first time on Tuesday, the president called on them to direct finances towards areas that will help ordinary people in their daily lives. She specifically pinpointed increasing the household income through robust job creation. Later this week, the government is set to announce its economic policy direction for the latter half of the year. Now, the Korean wave has sparked a global interest in all things Korean. One area doing particularly well is the domestic cosmetics industry. Exports actually reached a record high last month, with China snapping up the most of the best cosmetics Korea has to offer. Our Hwang Jie reports.
Chun Ji-hyun is the heroine of My Love from the Star, a Korean soap drama that garnered huge success in China. And it's not just the storyline that enthralled the Chinese, but also her rosy lips and lily white skin. Riding on the back of a boom in Korean pop culture, including television series and music, the Korea Customs Service says the nation's cosmetics exports came in at over $150 million, reaching a record high in June. By country, exports to China took up almost half of the total amount, followed by Hong Kong, the United States, and Japan. It's no wonder that local cosmetics brands are focusing on marketing strategies using popular Korean celebrities. Industry insiders say local cosmetics are selling especially well in China, where sales are growing by 30% annually, while overall China's cosmetics industry is expanding by 10%. Outbound shipments of beauty products in the first half of this year also posted a record high at nearly $800 million. Korean cosmetics are also reaching out to more customers worldwide than it used to. The customs agency says that last year, local beauty products were exported to around 130 countries, up from 87 nations tallied in 2004. With many foreigners buying Korea's beauty products directly through duty-free shops in Korea or on their visits to the country, the agency says the market is estimated to be much bigger than what it looks like now. Hwang Ji-hye, Arirang News.
Now, exciting news for users of Kakao Talk, because Korea's leading mobile messaging service is diving into the mobile banking business. When the firm's latest service launches, probably sometime in the fall, they say, Kakao users will be able to send around $100 to friends or family at the push of that little yellow button. Our Kim Min-ji reports.
Boasting more than 30 million subscribers in Korea, Kakao Talk is aiming to keep user numbers up by entering the banking business. It plans to expand in services to allow for money transfers as soon as this September. Users will first have to download an application called Bank Wallet Kakao. After going through a verification process, the user will be required to register their bank account details and set a password. After creating a virtual account and linking it to an actual banking account, people will be able to use these accounts with around $500 of balance and transfer up to $97 each day. The company has joined up with more than a dozen commercial banks and the Korea Financial Telecommunications and Clearings Institute to offer the service. Korea's financial regulator is currently looking into the companies to see if they meet security standards. It comes amid concerns of possible breaches, from the hacking of passwords and personal data to the theft of authentication certificates.
The transactions are regulated by participating banks or financial institutions. Kakao just offers a platform and sends messages to users when a transaction is made. It does not interfere with financial data. We have also analyzed potential attacks by hackers and have blocked it in advance.
This is joining the global trend set by major players such as Facebook and Amazon. Now it remains to be seen whether Kakao Talk banking will garner enough success to change the banking landscape in Korea. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Now, Korea has a new slogan, Imagine Your Korea, to sum up what it would be like to spend your vacation time right here in Korea. So expect to see the tagline plastered on billboards, magazines, websites and TV commercials like the new 30-second clip starring K-pop superstars Big Bang. Park Ji-won reports.
Imagine your Korea. This is the new brand slogan of Korean tourism. The Culture Ministry and Korea Tourism Organization launched a new slogan on Tuesday after months of public surveys and consultations with experts. The typeface of the Imagine Your Korea slogan embodies vitality and energy, while the colors within the design are ones found in traditional Korean hanbok clothing. The new promotional video for the slogan features the popular K-pop group Big Bang, who are honorary ambassadors for Korean tourism. From traditional Korean dishes and trendy shopping districts to creative cultural products like K-pop performances, the new promotional video shows off all that Korea has to offer as a travel destination. The number of foreign tourists visiting Korea surpassed the 10 million mark for the first time in 2012, and the Korea Tourism Organization hopes to see that figure double by the year 2020, thanks to continued efforts to promote the country to the world.
Imagine your Korea.
Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Time now for a look through the international headlines we're following on this Wednesday morning. For that, we turn to our Eunice Kim standing by at the news center. Good morning, Eunice.
And good morning to you, Mark. Fighting continues in the Middle East as diplomats from the U.S. and the UN struggle to find a peaceful solution to the conflict that has now claimed more than 600 lives. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon was in Israel meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry held talks with the Egyptian Foreign Minister on Tuesday. In a press conference, he called the Egyptian initiative the framework to end the violence and that he hoped to get to peace as soon as possible for the sake of thousands of innocent families whose lives have been shaken and destroyed by this conflict. Gaza health officials say the Palestinian death toll in Israel's offensive rose to at least 616, including nearly 100 children. The Israeli military said it had killed 183 militants. 2 Israeli civilians were also reported killed by Palestinian rocket fire into Israel. Meanwhile, U.S. and European airlines have suspended flights into Israel's main international airport after a rocket fell 1.6 kilometers away. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration ordered Delta, United, and U.S. Airways to halt flights into Israel for 24 hours. European airlines, including Germany's Lufthansa, Air France, and Dutch airline KLM, said they were grounding flights there too. Israel's flagship carrier El Al continued flights despite the warning from Europe's aviation regulator. The suspensions come one day after the U.S. State Department issued a travel warning for its citizens to avoid non-essential travel to Israel and the West Bank. A pair of U.S. appeals courts have handed down conflicting rulings on President Barack Obama's signature health care law. The cases addressed key IRS-funded subsidies of Obamacare for low and middle-income earners under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. The plaintiff had argued they were injured by IRS actions that incurred additional taxes for employers. The decisions aren't expected to have immediate impact, though, as they are open to appeal. And finally, China's latest food scandal has spread to include more American companies as news spread that the tainted meats were sent to as far as Japan. The case first surfaced when it was found that Shanghai Husi Food Company had supplied expired meat to McDonald's and KFC. Their parent brand apologized to Chinese customers Monday, and on Tuesday, Starbucks said some of its coffee shops had sold food products using chicken sourced from Shanghai Husi, which was shut down by regulators Sunday following a TV report showing staff using expired meat. A Tokyo-based spokesman at Japan's McDonald's Holdings company said about a fifth of its chicken McNuggets was sourced from the troubled company and had stopped selling the product on Monday.
And a good Wednesday morning to you all as we kick things off in swimming, where Marine boy Park Taehan has found himself without a sponsor once again, with the Asian Games less than 2 months away. Now, the 25-year-old who recently earned a ticket to 6 swimming events in Incheon no longer has a sponsor after his previous sponsor, SJR, an online education company, failed to renew his sponsorship. And according to several reports, Park Taehan requires roughly $70,000 per month training in Australia. But of course, with his recent success in the national team trials, don't be surprised if he gets a major sponsorship deal real soon. And now moving over to the South Korean national football team, the KFA is still looking for a new head coach to at least lead the team in the upcoming Asian Cup in Australia. And according to several reports, some big names are in the final list of candidates. And according to Scotland's The Scotsman, former Celtic FC head coach Neil Lennon tops the final list of candidates that the KFA is currently looking into. Of course, Lennon has previously coached Ki Sung-young in the past and is regarded as one of the better head coaches. Meanwhile, other big names reported to be in the final list are former Barcelona head coach Frank Rijkaard, former Fulham head coach Martin Jol, and former Costa Rica head coach Jorge Pinto. And now over to fencing, where the South Korean men's saber team finished with a silver medal at the 2014 World Fencing Championship in Kazan, Russia, after falling short against Germany 45-41 in the finals. Now, despite the loss, the silver medal finish is the best finish yet for the men's saber team. And now with that, shifting over to the majors, where LA Dodgers lefty Lee Hyun-jin won his first game after the All-Star break after his team beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-2. Now bounced back after a terrible start against the Detroit Tigers before the All-Star break. The hefty lefty tosses 7 innings of gem, giving up just 5 hits and 2 earned runs while striking out 5. Now he improves his record to 11-5, also lowering his ERA to 3.39. And now finishing things off, the second half of the 2014 KBO season kicked off on Tuesday as the Kia Tigers beat the LG Twins 5-3 and the Hanwha Eagles on fire, beating the NC Dinos 12-11 in an epic extra inning game. And the Tucson Bears and the SK Wyverns were called off due to rain just after 2 innings. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the first place Samsung Lions take on the Lotte Giants. And right off the bat in the first inning, Taehan with an RBI single to left, giving the Samsung Lions the 1-0 lead before Park Sung-min continues his hot bat with a 2-run shot to deep left field, giving Samsung the early 3-0 lead. But here come the Lotte Giants in the second inning. Hwang Jae-gyun with an RBI double to left field makes it 3-1 before Yong-do Kwon singles home Park Jong-yoon to make it 3-2. But we shift over to the 5th inning of the game. Here's Park Sung-min once again, this time deep to center field. Back, gone. A 2-run shot is second of the night as he helps the Samsung Lions hold on to win this one 5-3, your final score. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Good morning to you. I'm Lee Ji-yeon with your weather update. Now it feels more like monsoon season, right? Well, rain came down hard overnight for upper areas, and still monsoonal front is dropping showers to those regions, including here in Seoul. And till noon, it's forecasted to rain about 20 to 40 millimeters per hour, so please be aware of heavy rain if you're in the central region. But people down south will have a different story today. heat wave will continue to sweep the southern provinces with mercury hovering low to mid 30s in those regions. So get ready for another sweltering day today. So let's take a closer look at the readings for today. The morning low here in Seoul is starting out at 24, then the high will rise to 27. Now that's 2 degrees lower than yesterday, while Daegu will climb to 35 and Gwangju and Busan will have a daily highs of 33 and 30 respectively. And for other regions, it looks like Jeju Island and Daejeon should see highs of 30. Dokdo should rise to 27, while Mount Keungang tops out at 21. Once again, if you're in the upper areas, roads are extremely slippery due to rain, so please drive with extra caution. Well, that's all from me at this hour. Have a wonderful day.
Well, thank you very much, Jiyeon, and we'll be back throughout the day with more newscasts, and Korea Today is coming up in about half an hour's time with more of the day's news. I'll be back at 10 a.m. Korea time. Until then, goodbye.